What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of For the Love of the Game. I'm hosting today, Tommy Stiles, with my good friend Turner Riddle. And today, joining us, we have the Classical Queen 2021 New York Pro winner, Alyssa Kiessling. Alyssa, welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming on with us today. I know Turner had been talking to you to get you on. So this podcast, is, as it's titled, is all about For the Love of the Game, which that could go a million different ways for what it means to you based off whatever we end up talking about. So I know Turner had some questions. I have some questions that I'll ask along the way too. We'll just kind of have a nice little discussion. So first things first, we were kind of talking off the air. So tell everybody what you're currently doing. You know, what are you currently prepping for, if anything, where you're at, stuff like that.
So I am now sitting about 5, 6 weeks post competition, post show. I competed at the Texas Pro about a month and a half ago. Um, I was supposed to do a photo shoot a couple days ago, which I was still trying to stay somewhat in condition for, but I got a little head cold. That was canceled. Now I'm just, getting ready for next season. I'm in the position to where I know, like, I'm really seeing how elite I am and what I have, and I can't waste time because I just turned 30 years old. So I'm all in for next season. I'm just preparing myself to do what I have to do next season and make a splash at the Olympia. That's my goal.
What does that look like?
As far as like physique goals or competition wise,
Just things that you know need to be done before you can make a splash there.
I
At
think
that
what
level.
needs to be done is I just, seeing so at the Texas Pro, I just placed second place to Evie Rain. And if you guys know about her, she's top five at the Olympia. And standing next to her, I really feel like I compared very well. Physique wise, I know I need to just grow overall. I'm short, I'm 5 foot tall. Right now, I weigh 147 pounds, which is the heaviest I've ever weighed. And I'm pretty lean for this weight. So I know the size is being added. I have to treat the off season like a prep because that's what's going to lead into the perfect prep. That's what me and my coach call it. Because when I prep, I don't prep unless I'm mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally ready. And when I do a show, it's all in, like one egg, one basket, no questions asked. And for my physique, I need to bring my back up. I need to bring my legs up. My Tyler Mannion said back and hamstrings. So that's my main focal point right now. And then just picking out strategic wise what shows to do next year. I'm in it for the love of the game, but I'm also, realizing there's money to be made. The show I competed at Texas Pro, the prize was $15,000. And that's why I chose that show. You go to the Olympia, I want to say I couldn't tell you if this is the truth or not, but I believe the prize for first place at the Olympia for women's physique is maybe $20,000. It's only a $5,000 difference. So I already have my sights set out on $15,000 next year. So it's not about what show or what this, it's about, the money at this point because I do this for a living and, I try to just grind out clients so I could do what I got to do on stage. But, unlike open men bodybuilders, like I'm just a little women's physique girl. So it's like I got to grind and hustle to make my money. So I don't know if it's get in shape and compete and just collect checks. Because I'm not obsessed with trying to get to the Olympia and qualify. It's not all about that because I do know that qualifying is possible. So at the end of the day, I do want to make a living out of it, and I've got my sights set on money next year. So I haven't confirmed anything, but $15,000 is still on the line for women's physique, and why not?
And that's just one show.
That's one show. And this year, I was I was sponsored into the show, so I got paid just to go compete for it. So again, like I may never win the Olympia, and I'm okay with that. I can live with that. But like I'm marketable, and people like me. Like they like the classical queen image and what's on stage of the classical queen, and I just got to market it and make money out of it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Where does that title come from? The Classical Queen. What started that?
Um, you know, when I made the Instagram account, I was a nobody, an amateur. I was like 20 years old in Florida. And classical comes from like I'm an old soul, like I'm just an old spirit. Like I'm a grandma. I don't care to party. I don't care to go out. I don't care to have friends. Like conversations are just don't even. I just literally just want to stick to my thing. I'm an old soul, and that's where the classical part comes from, as well as the posing aspect. And then the queen aspect is like I'm obviously you look at me and you're like, whoa, that's a dude. Like I'm not the most feminine looking woman, but at the end of the day, my morals, how I was raised, how I am, just my morals, just how I live my life. I'm a queen. Like I respect myself, and I think anybody who talks to me, meets me, can understand why I would call myself that. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't think anything like that, but deep down inside, like I just have traits that I think every woman should have. Whether I look like it or not, at the end of the day, you can do my hair and makeup and put me in a bikini and boom, there's the queen aspect, right? So I really believe in respect and morals, and that's where the queen aspect comes from, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely could see that how it tied to the posing, just with some of the routines and some of the stuff on Instagram I've seen. So that's a different side of it that I didn't know about. Now, kind of transitioning from that to what does training look like for you? And how has it evolved over the years?
It has evolved tremendously, I must say. So before, like, I would say there's like two time periods in my life, like pre-COVID, post-COVID. So pre-COVID, it was more, I would say, powerlifting because there was no contracting. And that's where, yeah, I developed a physique, but it only got me so far. And I noticed that. And then once COVID hit, took all the weights and machines away from us, we had to only use what we could use, right? So I learned how to contract and pump and put blood in the muscle and isolate and really bodybuild, if that makes sense. So I transitioned from like powerlifting, moving heavy weight to bodybuilding. And over the past couple years since COVID, what I've done is I've implemented two-a-days. So the style of eating that I do, it's based off of my digestive, so I can eat dirty foods and get away with it. But so what I like to do is I'll eat dirty at night. So I load up at night, and I don't like to wake up and feel bloated and like watery and then eat on top of that. So I'll go pump. So I go to the gym first thing in the morning every day, and it's all instinctive. It's just my body tells me what to do, and that's where the spiritual aspect comes from. So first thing in the morning, and I call it a primer workout. So like today I did back. So and the morning workout fasted, it was just isolating, squeezing, a lot of pulling down stuff, just priming my back and my mental for what I did this afternoon. And then this afternoon, I went and did heavy rack pulls, heavy. I can't even remember, but just everything was heavier. So the morning is like pump, yeah, and then the afternoon is like compound, heavy, just meat and potatoes work. And the amount of volume, it's not overtraining because again, it's all instinctive. I just go based off of how I feel, and I I I feed that morning workout too with carbs, so I'm not like fasted. I'm not like eating away at the muscle. So right now it's the post show time period, so I'm just fucking, loading up, getting full as possible in the morning. Like my pumps are excruciating because I'm just able to connect better. And then I take a nap, I load up a little bit more with some food, and then that afternoon workout, I just go and power lift, so to say. So that's
How
kind of
many
my,
a week?
I'm sorry,
How many days a week do you do a 2-a-day split?
every day, man. I'm in the gym 3 times a day because like I'll do the pump morning in the morning, the meat and potatoes workout midday, and then I do my cardio at night, which is like the opposite. So again, it's just because like, going back to when I was like 16, 17, like my younger days working at Max Fit, I had to train in the morning because driving an hour to the beach and being at the beach till 8 o'clock at night, like I couldn't train during the day. So I'm used to the 4 or 5 a.m. session. But also my muscles just, I'm able to contract, and that mind to muscle connection is more intense first thing in the morning versus after a full day of food and water. and you're full, yeah, you're going to be strong. You're going to be able to load and move weight and stuff like that. But bodybuilding is about isolating and contracting. And then, you know, when you're feeling the contraction, that leads to better posing and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. I've got a couple questions. The first one you kind of touched on. One of them is, when did you know? And then another one that kind of stems from that is like blazing your own trail. I feel like, I'm not to put you on this in the same pedestal of like Dana and Bailey, but for the girls that I keep up with, I feel like you have kind of like blazed your own trail, so to speak. Like, I mean, to be honest with you, I probably couldn't name 5 girls, not good competitive girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I think girls, I think you, and then I think Dana and Bailey. You know, you got what's the other girl's name?
Michaela Aycock. You got Michaela Aycock.
I'm talking about Mrs. No, she's women's physique. No, not who won women's physique last year?
Natalia.
We got Natalia and then Sarah. You know, I'm just now learning about all these women's as well, because I'm more of a fan of the men. Let's just be real. But you know, Natalia Cuejo, Sarah Villegas, like Evie Rain, who I got second to. That's that top 5 group. But then like Michaela Aycock, who used to be women's physique, who's crossed over to bodybuilding, like that's who I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of Michaela because that's my style, you know?
Yeah, but that, like, I think of you before I think of Natalia. I think Michaela kind of takes it one step further, because not to say either one of you are more feminine than the other, but I feel like Michaela has solidified herself in the bodybuilding realm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
and you're there too, but I still think you have the women's physique side more so than she does.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But she's an OG. She's awesome. I love that. I love that there's not some girls out there they're not scared to, you know, be looked at or thought of as whatever you want to be called. You know, like, she took that too far.
Yeah. Yeah. She's an extremist, but you know, like, that's why she's so good at what she does. And
100%.
the extremists are usually that good. And outside of the stage, she probably gets some flack, but on stage, she's winning. She's doing great. You know, she got 3rd at the Wings of Strength recently, maybe 4th, but she's making money in bodybuilding, and that's what it's about. Like, so, you know,
it's good.
It's a business.
That's right. I think it's good to hear at least someone say, I'm trying to do this for money, because most everyone's like, well, I'm not doing this for money. And I think that if you're not picking the shows that got money, you're stupid. You know what I mean? I know the big name people are going to pick those shows too, so because they want to win some money. But at the end of the day, like, why are you going to go try to win the Puerto Rico Grand Prix that the grand prize is $500? You know, I mean,
Exactly.
like, the food that you're going to spend to be there is going to be more than the money that you're going to win. I never understood that.
Because some people look at it as an easy qualification to get to the Olympia. But again, I'm not all about obsessing over an Olympia qualification, because I already went to the Olympia once. It's no different than when you guys have pulled up to the national show. You know, you've done nationals a couple times. It's no different than me doing the Olympia a couple times. I don't want to do the Olympia until I'm ready to win it. That's when it's going to be worth it for me. And it's no different than when I turned pro. Like, I did nationals twice. The first time was just Santi threw me in. I was just getting my feet wet type thing. I didn't know what I was doing really. But then I knew what I was doing the second time, and I pulled up and I took it and went home with my pro card. And that's like, I don't have the finances to just do things for fun. And I haven't since I got into the sport. I got into the sport because I do love training. I do love bodybuilding, but it's evolved into more than that, because again, I'm 30 years old now. I want a house, you know, I want to have a backyard. I want to have a garage gym. You know, there's things I want in my life. And in order to get those types of things, I can't grind out clients all the time and compete. Like, it's got to be, you know, I'm trying to evolve into like a Dana Lynn Bailey, so to say. And it's going to take hard work. I can get there. I know I can. But again, it's just going to take hard work.
It becomes like chess. Like, it's even at the national level for me and Turner, it's a chess game. strategically choosing the shows you're going to do, because you know that for 5 to 6 months you're in a prep like mindset and you're tunnel vision, but you can't stay in that year round and improve in other areas of your life, or you'll just be like another broke bodybuilder at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think,
And
you know, a lot of people, I'm glad we are talking about money, because a lot of people drain their life savings chasing a carrot that they're never going to catch, whether it be a pro card, if it's an amateur, just year after year after year doing USA's, North Americans, and nationals and not getting it, or a pro who's doing pro show after pro show, and then maybe they get to the Olympia but they take 16th. And it's like, at some point you got to start looking at what's the end game, because you're not winning the Olympia if that's the case. If you're dead last every year, cross the Olympia off your manifestation, because it's not going to happen. And that's not a bad thing. You can still have a great career and not be the, you know, Miss or Mr. Olympia. And I think a lot of people just need to reprioritize what success might look like to them. Even, you know, when I hear amateurs talk about turning pro before they've even done a show, or they've done one show, like, they don't even realize how many people never win an overall, let alone turn pro and then win a pro show and do the Arnold and all this. So I don't know. It's kind of like being 5 years old and saying you're going to, you know, be in the NBA. Like, yeah, it sounds cool, but it's a
you
lot.
just have to be realistic, because again, you know, you just have to be realistic in life, because I don't have children. I'm single. You know, this is my life, so this is what I choose to do. And but if I had kids, it might be a different story. You know, if I was 35 and, like you said, placing last at a pro show, like, okay, I'm gonna rethink what I'm doing with my life and my health. But I'm 30 years old, I'm doing well, and I think I do have, there's money to be made, and I think I can make it. So, you know, I'm just taking it one step at a time. And, you know, this year has been another transitional year for me. You know, the Texas Pro was, I was right there. You know, I was fucking just, I could taste $15,000. I ain't never seen that much money in my life at once. Like, that's just something that, okay, I could taste it. And you know what? I see my parents see what I'm like this close to getting, and they believe in me this much more this year. And it's just, everything's starting to just fall into place, but I just have to do the work. And right now, and I'm in that phase where I have to put the size on, that way I could do what I have to do next year on stage. Like, I already know how to prep. Me and my coach know how to get in shape. Like, I know what to do on stage. That's not the problem. It's just, I got to get this body ready. That way, boom, I can not be too small. Or, okay, I'm short, so I got to get thicker, and just like, I got to be like a giant killer, literally. So
Tommy and I talk about this all the time, though. Like, and we touched on this a second ago. You're, we'll just say top 5 in the world, or there, that time's coming. But like, you're also very marketable. Well, you've made yourself marketable. You know what I mean? Like, and I still think there's probably a lot of room to improve there when you're placing at that higher level. Gets even better, and like, I know that there's girls that are out there that are probably better than you, that don't have maybe the following. And so, I mean, Tommy and I talk about this. I talked about this with Nick Walker at USA's, and Nick and I have gone way back. And for many years, it's like the end goal was always just been win Olympias. And we got to talking, and it was like a new Nick that I've never talked to before. He was like, man, there's so much other money out there to be made other than just trying to win that $400,000 a year. And I was like, do you think about that a lot? And he's like, dude, I think about that every day. But if you go back to before he turned pro, or maybe right after when he was turning pro, like, the only thing in life that he cared about was winning the Olympia. You know what I mean? And so,
yep.
I always say this, like, you're one reel away from, like, not I'm not just meaning you, but in general, in social media world that we live in today, like, you're one reel away from becoming viral. And then there's other things that come with being viral and going viral, and the follows and things that come with that. And so, like, I had to just like suck it up and realize, like, you know what, I'm not gonna be viral or have the following or anything like that unless I just start putting stuff out there. And that's the reason that, you know, since May, or March, we've just been pumping. And so it's like, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not about going viral, but it's about putting myself out there to have the opportunity to be more than just, a bodybuilding coach per se.
Absolutely. And that's where because growing up, I've got a little shirt business, and I do coaching, posing coaching, prep coaching. I do whatever I gotta do to make
Yeah.
money. I'm like a one-stop shop. But, at the end of the day, you just I'm a one-man army, and I can only do so much. And if I spread myself too thin, I can't accomplish what makes me happy, which is, the competing aspect. It does
Yeah.
make me happy because it's not the get on stage and win and go to that's not what makes me happy. It's the process, and it's a mental process of, just the prep of doing something that you say you're going to do, fully committing yourself to it, dedicating, and just going through and accomplishing it. And that alone makes me happy. And I grow as a person in a prep. And
Yep.
then if I start doing too much, like posting, and now I'm worried about posting and posting for my sponsor, and then now I lose focus of the work of what I got to do to be a better bodybuilder.
Yep.
So I've made decisions over the years that there's only so much I can take on, and it's clients, which I got to take care of my clients, and then I got to take care of myself, and then after that it's take care of my sponsors on social media, because my sponsors have my back every time it comes down to a show. Iron Rebel, shout out to Iron Rebel, Anova Farm, Chicken Pound, and Crown Custom Belts. When I needed something for this Texas Pro Prep, it wasn't even a question. They have my back. So I feel like that's just out of respect. Again, there's the respect thing. Out of respect, I'm gonna make sure that you're getting the attention on my social media platforms. But I can't do YouTube, and it takes hours to make a cool reel. Like, I don't
Yep.
even have time to do that. Like, and then it's like, I don't want to spend money on reels. I want to spend money on farm grade HGH. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about, I just care about taking care of my finances, my bills, myself, and my clients. And
Yep.
if I take on more, those things, my foundation will get shifted, and then all hell will break loose.
Right.
So over the years, like, I've learned not to spread myself too thin, and just, if I have 3 baskets and 3 eggs, I just got to put those eggs in that basket, and then we're good. But
Yep.
again, I know there's YouTube, there's reels. I know I see it, and I watch it all day long, and I'm like, well, okay, I don't care. I'm about to take this nap so I can have a good workout. That's what I care about. So
Well, I think you're at the Olympia level, so I think that priority gets put up. You get the right to put that priority, that nap and workout, over a reel and a YouTube, because, like, for me, I'm not at the Olympia level, so I'm like, okay, who stands before me? Derek, Nick, all these guys. So I'm like, okay, I'm putting my eggs in YouTube where I stand a chance versus some other guys. But I definitely feel with what you're saying in your situation.
yeah, but I mean, I watched you growing up before I turned pro, and it was just, you have that, you're an extremist as well, and I I look up to you in many aspects. So, like you said, you made the realistic decision of the smart, wise thing to do, because you have a baby girl now, so you got to make the money and do what's right. And you're still training, you're still
Yeah.
pumping out training and all that. You're still doing what you love, but you're just doing what's right for, your family and your future. So again, like you said, my nap is priority, but again, it's like, fuck, I'm like, my I only go viral when it's show weekend and my progress pictures get released, and that's when
Well, I mean,
my social.
I
I'm
agree with
sorry.
that. I think that your sponsorships, like I said, when you're competing at that level, your sponsorships, more so you competing or you posting through the week versus you winning or placing in the top 2, top 3. I think, in my opinion, that top 2 or that win at the Olympia is what Iron Rebel really wants to see. Let their ambassadors post every day. You know what I mean? You go
Yeah.
win the Olympia, it's like, okay, I solidified myself for a year. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really feel like that's why I say like I'm not the one to compete, but I questioned that this year. I almost was gonna do the Legion Sports Festival this year, but again, I had some personal things I had to take care of, like with Texas and whatnot. So I do think that I get in shape and it's easy to hold condition. So why not pull like a Ashley? I don't know her name, Ashley K Fit or whatever, where she just competes, and collects checks. Like why
Yeah.
not do that? Just travel, see the world, And I know I'm gonna be straight financially, so just collect them checks, and then get me a house. Like I don't want to be in an apartment. I want a house. Again, I'm an old soul. I want a backyard. I want to go sit out on my backyard and drink coffee and watch my dog play with whatever, like that's what I want. And I'm working real hard for that.
Dig it. Well, since
Yeah.
we're on the Olympia talk, what was the coolest part of the Olympia for you? Like, was it just being on the stage? Was it like the thought of you never knew if you would get there and you're finally there? Is it standing next to some of those girls, the guys that you saw? I mean, like, what was the coolest part of that?
I think honestly, the coolest part was just, for me, when I'm in a bodybuilding prep, I I completely shut down because I'm laser focused. You can ask anybody that's around me. I'm a different person, but it's for a reason. So when I got to the Olympia, um, it was a prep that felt like it was never ending from New York Pro in May to the Olympia in August. I literally took pictures for my coach twice a day, and I did not miss a meal or an ounce or a gram on my diet from from New York Pro to Olympia. So that was like 21 weeks of perfection, but it was like mentally detrimental. So when I got to the Olympia, it was like I'm done. Like we did
Yeah,
it. We're here. Now it's over. Like it was more of a relief. And
right.
that was probably the coolest part because it was like, you listen to people talk, like for instance, Fuad on his podcast, he's talked about qualifying for the Olympia and didn't go. And that was probably like his last time. I don't want that to be the case because we're not promised tomorrow. So I did it for the fact that I qualified. I'm going to do this for this is my dream. This is the biggest thing that, I've got going on in my life, and I'm not gonna not do it because I don't want to or I don't feel like doing it. So I stuck it out. I saw it through. It was hell, but when I got there, it was like just a big relief. And then, I got to meet my coach. I got to just spend time with people that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And my parents were there, the meet and greet. There wasn't nothing specific that was like the coolest thing, but just the overall experience of just, you know, here's a fun fact. I didn't make the top 10, and that was probably the coolest thing for me because I was backstage, went to finals, and figuring out if I was going to do my routine. Because for one, I don't have routines planned out. I freestyle my routines. So I got to finals, and the pre-judging stage is completely different than the final stage. The final stage is very intimidating. So when I got to finals, I was like, fuck. Like I was stressed out because I was like intimidated myself. Like that was very intimidating to see. So whenever I was backstage, I forget who it was that told me, but they said that then like, hey, you unfortunately didn't make top 10, and so you don't get to perform your routine. And I was like, yes, like that was probably the best moment because it was like I did what I wanted to do, and now it's over, and now I can enjoy bodybuilding. So I
Right.
got to watch, I got to watch Nick Walker on stage, and me and Nick Walker, we go back. We both won that New York Pro together. So him and I, we prepped for that show. It was just him and I, we got like a bodybuilding tie between us. So him and I, growing up in the sport as well, I feel like he's like my little brother in a sense, but it was just enjoyable to watch and be at the Olympia. Yeah, I competed in it, but I didn't feel like I did because I was up on stage for like 1 minute total and in the last call out. But either way, it was just a relief that it was over. Like next time, I won't be saying that because I did it again. It's like people going to nationals for the first time. It's like, whew, like you thought you were going to win your pro card and you got third call outs. Like, okay, now you know what to expect going into it the next time. So now I know what to expect going into it next time, and I'm not going to be less than top 10. That's for sure. So
For sure. What you got, Tommy?
No, I think an experience. I mean, it's the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, so I imagine it's just trying to play it cool, but also being starstruck at the same time, kind of nostalgia. Like, because how many years had you followed the Olympia and now you're actually a part of it? Even if you are, I mean, third call out, last call out, whatever, like your name is still on the F or the competitor list for the what year was that? 2021.
Yeah. And
I think
the
a
word
lot of people
starstruck.
don't realize like how many people around the world are watching the Olympia, and you're one of the names on that list. Like it is pretty surreal.
I'll say this. Here's what I think was probably the most memorable thing from that weekend, and it's a social media thing. And this is not, again, this is just a sign to me as I'm like, I humbly say this, and I don't want to offend any other women's physique competitors, but I feel like I'm the people's champ in a sense because I placed 14th at that Olympia, and the Bison Tries Instagram page that weekend they were posting basically just the top people, and when it came to women's physique, they only posted Natalia and Sarah and me. I got 14th, and they posted my routine, but they only posted Natalia and Sarah's. They didn't post Brooke Walker's, who got third. They didn't post Evie's, who got fifth. They didn't post Barbara, who got fourth. They posted me, who got 14th. So it's just like, those are the little signs that's like, okay, look, you don't have to be winning in order to be popular. And popularity leads to dollar signs, if you
Yep.
do it correctly. So that's probably one of the cooler things from that weekend.
Well, this whole episode we've talked. It's all about branding. I mean, Rich Piana is the OG of that. He never turned pro, and I think his best placing at a pro qualifier was like 7th. And more people know Rich Piana than other champions along the way, since all through Rich's career. So
And he's
brand
still
in this world now in 2023, like it is a content driven world, and you can be, as much as I don't like some of the kids doing it, like you can be a social media bodybuilder, you can be a YouTube bodybuilder, and there's money in that. So you could never get on stage and make more money than, guys who grind it out for 10, 15 years. And it just, that's why I'm saying it's like chess. You have to decide like what's more important to you, competing and being broke potentially, or picking and choosing your shows throughout your career, but also hustling all year long with putting out content, making people follow you, creating a fan base. That's the people's champ, or everyone roots for the underdog. Everyone roots for Rudy. Most people don't like the champions. They get bored. Like no one liked Phil when he was on his reign, even though he was the best physique. People were sick of it. They were bored. They were like, give us something new. And people are always going to root for the wolves climbing the mountain rather than liking who's on top of the throne. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
I think what you said about the people's champ, like I can't call myself the people's champ by any means, but that feeling that you feel, I understand that, because I basically at this point I'm an Instagram bodybuilder. Now I've done national shows and I've competed for many years, and so people, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but I was going to lead this into a question with, like, I travel quite a lot now, way more than I did when I competed. When I competed, I was just in my shit. Like I didn't have outside things to pull me another direction. That was all I cared about. But now when I travel, I'll be just in the gym or random places, and most of the time that's in the gym. But people are like, "Are you Turner Riddle?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like at the end of the day, I've never turned pro or won the show that I wanted to win. But it's like that's cool. It's. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that would be hard to do. Like, just be known in random places that nobody knows you are going and nobody knows that you were going to be there. You know what I mean? And have people come up and be like, man, I've been watching your stuff for X amount of years. To me, that's like, I don't want to hang my hat on that. But at the end of the day, like that kind of makes you feel good.
Because it's just almost like, again, it's like they're respecting the work ethic, because they're not coming up to you because you won the Olympia or you're a pro or this or that, what you did on stage. It's because your work ethic at the end of the day. And that's what I followed you for, back when you were training under Matt and you were posting them side quarter turns with the pinwheel glutes. Like, shit, that's what I want. So I'm going to follow what this guy's doing, and I'm going to look at how he trains and how he eats and how he sleeps. And, like I literally am obsessive, but it's observatory. Like I take in, and everything I'm reading and scanning the room, and I'm trying to like literally I know everything. And it's not because I know everything and I'm cocky, it's because I pay attention, and I'm not dumb. Like, so it's the work ethic that they're coming up to and respecting, and that's what's badass.
I think that goes with the old school, like you like in old school bodybuilding so much because that's, I mean, we had the magazines. I guess you would say Facebook. I don't think I learned anything through Facebook, but it was like YouTube, magazines,
What about
you know,
geared up?
posters on the wall. Like I was the same way. Like if I can remember like going to my computer at night from getting off at work or on my lunch break and just typing in Jay Cutler. Like every single video that had Jay Cutler in the title or whatever in the hashtags or Kevin Levrone. I mean, like I've watched every single movie, video that
Training session. Yup.
uh,
I've probably exhausted YouTube to the point where I can only rewatch videos. And I'm
yeah,
not gonna watch these new YouTubers nowadays because it's not the same. But again, I literally when I'm on prep, when I'm eating my pre-workout meal, it's Nick Walker back or Jay Cutler back training or John Meadows. Or Ben Pekulski, because what I'm listening to is your cues. I'm not watching you train. I'm listening to your cues because I'm taking your personal trainer cues, and I'm taking that into my workout. So now when I'm training and I just watched this video 30 minutes ago, and now I'm doing a row and I'm hearing Ben Pack say, it's just that's what I do. And that's I don't need someone to train me. I know what I'm doing, and I can only do it as good as I could do it.
that's right.
So I have to, I'm just taking these cues, and now I'm taking it with me to the gym. And that's why when I'm in the gym training, some people get disrespected, but in a sense, you're disrespecting me because for the past, like everything I do, like this room right here is not a bedroom. This is a bodybuilding room. And I wouldn't let anybody come in here because it's kind of embarrassing to me because like just to like see how I'm living is low key embarrassing. But this is a bodybuilder room. Like what I do, everything I do is to be a better bodybuilder. So when I'm in the gym, like you coming up to me and saying, "Hey, what's up, Classical Queen?" Like that's kind of like disrespectful to me because the way that I'm thinking right now is not about the Classical Queen. It's about I'm trying to still hear Ben Pack training his person in that YouTube video so I could do it for myself. And like now you're coming up, you know what I'm saying? So I'm mental, but it's all for a reason and a purpose. And at the same time, you know, I'm not going to go into that, but I just take my time very serious, and I'm yeah.
You don't have to
So
explain that. I think anybody that's watching this or Tommy and I, we get that. Like, I mean, you wear the bitch face, you got your headphones in. I can remember my headphones being dead, and I'd still wear them. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't come up to me while I'm training. That's my time. That's my therapeutic zone.
and I've got to, that's been my spiritual battle for bodybuilding is learning how to deal with that throughout the years because I've been kicked out of many, many gyms. And it's like, you're kicking me out because you feel some type of way because you came up to me. Like, are you going to be mad at a pit bull because it bites you because you're trying to pet it while it's eating? Like, that's,
Exactly.
you petted the dog, it's eating. I'm eating right now. This is literally how I feed myself because this is what I got to do to go win $15,000 next year. So like I'm trying to get myself a house, and you're trying to talk to, hey, the Classical Queen. Like I'm thinking about a house, and you're thinking about yourself because to me, I see it as selfish. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. But again, when it comes down to trading, like I'm obsessive, but I'm like strategic, and it's like a what's the word, premeditated murder every session. So it's all instinctive, but that meat and potato session is premeditated for sure.
I get that. Since you're on that right there,
Yeah.
like I don't know what age you started working out, and it really doesn't matter. But like, do you have anything that maybe someone told you, or someone that something said to you, or just something you remember that it triggered? Like, and what I mean is like, is there ever anything that you listened to, heard, whatever that motivates you, like when you need it? Like, do you have something that you say to yourself when you need it? Whether it's low carb day and the last set of squats, you're all out set, or you don't want to do another set, but you got to, the weights on the bar. I don't know. Is there anything that you say to yourself? Is there anything that has ever been like something that you kept for a long time in a really, really dark, deep spot? Maybe a breakup?
Really. Well, this year, 2021 broke up with the relationship I was in. This year, I did guest posing at the Kukla Classic. The next day we broke up. 12 weeks later, I competed at the Texas Pro.
Yeah.
That I could deal with any situation or circumstance, and I don't allow negativity to fuel me, because I feel like negativity will only fuel more negative thoughts, actions, and again, that's where the downfall of bodybuilding will arise. I believe staying positive in those moments where, like, for me, it's all about getting ready for the next thing. So I prepare for the next move. If the next move is a meal, that meal's already made, ready to go. All I gotta do is pop it in the microwave. While that meal's microwaving, I'm getting ready for the next move. So I'm always getting ready for what's next. That way, whatever I'm doing, I'm able to be in the moment and not feel rushed or stressed out or like anxiety for what I got to do next. So that's what's allowed me to prepare for a bodybuilding show with no stress. Again, like, if it's a opposing. I get my laundry done, I'll lay down, rest up, pose the client. That way, when I'm done posing the client, I don't have to do my laundry. I can nap, you know? So I just staying prepared for the next thing. But when I'm in a training session this year with $15,000 on the line, I'm not gonna lie, everything was 15 reps every set. If I
That's
had 405 on the bar, 15 reps for $15,000. And if I didn't get to it, rest, pause, fucking squeeze them out.
that's
That was the motivation this year. And sometimes I have certain things that motivate me, like my parents or my dog, for example. My dog's name is Harley. And what I do is, if instead of counting out 15 reps for 15K, I'll count out I'll spell out her name. And
yeah.
those are the reps, HARLEY. That's what I do to kind of motivate myself, because it allows me to remember what I'm doing it for.
That's
Yes,
right.
I'm doing it for the money. I'm doing it for myself, but there are people I'm doing it for, like my sponsors, my parents, my dog, and that's really the three things I need. So I just,
That,
this year with 15K on the line, it was no less than 15 reps. So,
but shit, that's what I was looking for. That right there.
yep.
I can remember prepping for nationals, and that's how I would count my reps, would be NATIONALS. Like,
Yep.
just stupid fucked up shit like that. And it's like, it's not really stupid. It made sense at the time, but at the end of the day, like, it made for some really good workouts.
Oh man, it's different. It's different. And again, when I don't train many people in person, but when I do train people, like, I change their lives, because again, yes, there's the training aspect, but when you combine the mental aspect with that, it's different. It's just different. And anybody I put my hands on, they turn to gold. That's what I told this dude the other day. Like, it's because, like, again, I've been in the sport since 2013, which since then it's almost been 10, well, it's been 10 years now. And for the past 10 years, I've trained with Mountain Dog, Dominic Cardone. I could name off all these pros. Like, it's not going to make me any cooler, but at the end of the day, I've seen their style. I've seen how they train. I see how they eat. I see what they do outside of the gym and fucking off and not giving a fuck. Like, okay, I don't want to be like that. So I've seen things, and I take what I want, and then I just develop myself to be the best me, also the best me for my clients, because the better I am, the better my clients are as well.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you got.
I'm just rolling with it. That's I think I asked all my questions, but if you got something else, we can roll with it.
What's been the hardest part of bodybuilding for you? Like, and I don't mean just the amount of food. It could be anything. Like, what's been the hardest part that you've had to accept, that for me to do this, could be taking steroids. It could be having the money to be able to buy the steroids. Like, and I'm not making it about steroids. I'm just saying, like,
No.
what is the hardest part for you about the sport, that something that you had to accept, you had to do to make yourself, to take yourself to the level to be?
I think right now I'll say, like, I don't think anything's hard. It's only as hard as you're gonna make it, because if you want it, you're gonna get it. And that's what I've been doing. That's how I've been living my life recently, is if I want something, I'm gonna fucking get it. I don't give a fuck how much it costs. I'm getting it. And if it's $500 for a pen of GH, it's mine. Give it to me. I don't care. So I just, here recently, I think the hardest thing has been being able to socialize. And again, it's because I'm so hyper focused on what I've got to do to get in. Look, like, I'm 30 years old. I'm only going to get older from here. I'm not in high school anymore. This is cool, fun, and dandy. Yeah, I love training. But again, like, going back to, it's not all about money. And I don't want to make it all about that. But in order to like live a life without a roommate, like, I want to be in a house, and I can't even socialize because I feel like that's wasting time. Like,
That's
I just feel like the hard thing for me right now is being able to just, I don't know if it's socializing or if it's just being nice to people or what, but it's just like, I don't feel like there's any conversations that need to be had right now unless it's about training,
yeah.
eating. Like, I truly don't care. Like, I don't go many places. When I go to the gym, there's only one person I talk to there. And again, I'm very closed off because for me, going back to the spiritual aspect, spirits can swap. And if you're sitting here constantly if I'm constantly having conversations all throughout the gym, for one, I don't know what type of spirit you might be, withholding in your body. So now I'm sitting here because I'm being the customer service classical queen, and now I'm because I'm cool. What's up, And now we're sitting here for 30 minutes and having a conversation, but you can't stick to your diet when I'm perfect. And now we just swap spirits. So after this conversation, I lost my pump. Now I'm fucking lost, and now I go home, and now it's like you took my positive radiating spirit and you're going and dieting, and now you got your shit on track, and I just left with, now I want to go eat McDonald's and fuck my shit up. Like, that's how I look at things, and I'm very like closed off with my spirit and my vessel. So it's just like conversations, I choose wisely. And when people come up to me to talk, I'm like, what do you want? Like, why are you coming up to me? Because for one, I'm unapproachable. For two, I don't know what's going on here. Like, I'm defensive, and I don't know why I'm like that, but I know it's because of the relationship that I just came out of. But I'm trying to change. But at the same time, I'm so hyper focused on my goals that I just feel like everything else is a waste of time.
That's not a problem. I
Yeah.
think that for my best years, I was the same way. Nick, the same could be said for Nick. I know Tommy's the same way. Tommy trains in the gym that, he knows a lot of people, which I knew a lot of people too, but they also knew that when it was time to work, like I can remember people talking to me, and I wouldn't pull my headphones out on purpose. That way I could say, huh? Like they're like, they just said what they had to say, and I would like disrespectfully wouldn't pull my headphones out. I would just stare at them and be like, huh? And then they
And
say,
I've
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Like I'm
Yeah,
working
and
out.
I've learned, because what happens, and this is just, it's a common occurrence with anybody, with anything. You have that first conversation, and what it does, it's not the conversation, it's the action of opening that door. Now they see you, now they feel like they have the right. Like, no, you don't have the right to come up to me and talk to me every day and say good morning. Like, we said good morning yesterday. Like, come on now. We don't have to do this every day. Like, I
Right.
don't have time because I'm thinking, again, I just watched a YouTube video while I'm eating my pre-workout meal and just drink my pre to come in here and do something, not have this conversation. So I'm literally so consistent that these situations are predictable. So I've got to, again, it's a spiritual battle, and I believe in God, and I have conversations with God, and He helps me handle them. And one way of handling them is doing the
Yep.
like acting stupid. Like, okay, like, I'm just gonna make you feel stupid, and if you feel some type of way, that's on you. Because at the end of
Right.
the day, I didn't cuss you out. I didn't tell you to fuck off because I've done those types of things. But again, it's like I give certain hints, and if you don't get the hint the first time, because I don't even want to have to say, "Hey, I'm training. I don't want to talk right now." I want to just let the hint be had, and then we both understand, and now we're cool. Like, so that's one of my biggest issues.
I think part of it is it's entering your 30s too, because Turner and I are both in our 30s, and you just become a lot more aware of time and what you want to achieve, because you have a very short window to be hyper obsessive about any goal. I mean, it doesn't have to be bodybuilding related. But you're very aware of people who aren't working towards a goal because that's how they carry themselves. And it's okay if they want to live like that, but it's just hard to relate to people who don't, you know, for like Turner and I, anytime we talk, we're friends, but it's always about growth. And it's not about like, hey, did you see that new Netflix show? Like, what'd you think? Like, there's just no time for conversations or behaviors like that because my mind, even when I'm alone at 2 a.m. or 7 a.m. or in the gym on the cardio, whatever, it's always thinking about what do I have to do to grow and get better. And it is, I'm not afraid to admit, like, I am money driven. Like, money, like, I don't think you can say that money isn't your main driving force. Not you in specific, but the only people that say that outside of a few outliers don't have money. So they say like money doesn't matter, but money gives you so many opportunities and so much peace and freedom that why would that not be my main driving force to achieve?
Exactly.
So I think a lot of it is just like, you know, in your 20s, you think time is infinite and you have nothing but.
Yeah, and see, I'm not a materialistic driven person, and you know, everything I have is pretty much because sponsors have given it to me. My clothes, I have an abundance of clothes from Iron Rebel. I don't spend money on stuff. I have a 2013 Nissan Altima, the paint's peeling off of it. It gets me from where I gotta go. If I gotta go to Florida, that thing will get me to Florida. Like it's reliable, dependable. I don't need a Charger or Camaro or a big souped up, you know, Texas truck with rims in order to feel a part of the Texas community. Because at the end of the day, like you said, when I'm in the gym doing my cardio, I see everything and I see everybody and I see all the has-beens and washed ups and the rocks sponsored athletes. Okay, those titles are cool and all, but when you get on stage, what's happening? Because at the end of the day, it's not about the ambassadorships or whatever. It's about what goes on stage. And again, the people that are at the top of the fitness community in this city, they're with, I'm trying to use these terms respectfully, but they're just unsuccessful on stage. And, you know, you put the two and two together, you're sitting here having, all I see y'all do is have conversations and y'all work out in groups of 4. But you're a pro bodybuilder who's trying to compete and do, like, have success in the IFBB, which makes no sense. I just don't understand it. And then it comes into the girls situation because the athletes it's the relationships. And again, I was in one and the relationship it brought me down maybe mentally, but physically, man, that shit motivated the fuck out of me because you know what? I'm in here training. I was in a relationship with a female. So I'm in here training next to her exes and dudes she's slept with and dudes that are too pussy to come up to me and shake my hand, but you follow me on Instagram, bet. Now I'm about to go pull 4 plates. Like, you know, so it did make me better because I'm not in here. I don't see women. I look right over them. I'm looking at the biggest dude in the gym and I'm going to out train you because that's what's going to make me better. And if in the gym, if it's toxic and you feel some type of way because you feel like I want to fight you, good. Because guess what? I'm getting better. Like I'm training my fucking ass off. But those are external motivations that did arise, you know, and it still arises, but I don't care anymore. I'm out of that relationship. I'm not going to let what in the past, you know, I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm just going to come in here, handle my business. And at the end of the day, I'm the one that's getting called out to these Texas guest postings. I'm the one that's getting called out at second place at the Texas Pro, not last call outs. You know, I see, like, I'm just trying to be realistic and know what I'm doing is correct. And I don't have to, you know, fall into line with these other people and what they do in the materialistic aspects of, you know, what can come along with this shit. So I don't have money like that. And I don't need to flaunt my money because I'll flaunt my money. Like, I don't need to drive a Ferrari. I will walk around in a Ferrari. I could strip down right now and my physique will explain how I feel. Right.
That's right. I agree with that. I always said that. I think that, like,
I'm intense, but you know,
you should be good. You should be. I think that you talking about materialistic things, like my whole bodybuilding career, I wore nothing but gym clothes. And like, the only time I ever had nice clothes, I had to go buy them. And like, you'd have to get them tailor fitted for, you know, that time to wear them. And I didn't care. Like, I knew I wasn't going out. I knew I wasn't going to places where I needed to dress nice. I didn't even worry about, oh, you don't have dress clothes? Like, I don't plan on going anywhere where I can't wear fucking gym clothes. You know, like
I know.
one thing, or you decide to go to church with the parents or something like that. Like I can scrounge something up, but like I didn't have nice things and didn't even care. Like it didn't matter to me. So the things that you're talking about and what's intense to the average person is not intense to guys like me and Tommy or people like us. But I think that's the main reason we wanted to have you on here is because the people that are watching this, I'm not going to say most of them, but there's some people on here that watch this that still feel that. Now you're still going to talk a different language to a lot of people, the majority of the people, because they haven't figured out what gear they're in yet. They're still like figuring out, are they going to take off? Are they going to land? Are they going to, is this not for them? But like, we had you on here because we know this is for you. And that was like blazing your own trail. There's nothing that anyone can tell you that's going to make you change the way you do things, right? Like you figured this out for yourself. You know where you want to go. And at the end of the day, you're the only person that would or could stop you.
Absolutely. And I feel like I honestly know, I don't know it all, and I'm not a know-it-all, but I really feel like I know what I'm doing right now, and I just got to keep at it. And that's where the blaze in my trail will come into play, is just keeping at it and not giving it up. Like, yeah, right now my posts don't get a lot of love. It's under like 300 likes, which I have 78,000 followers. What's the ratio? I don't care, because at the end of the day, when it comes time to compete, that all that insights, whatever, I don't even know the terms, they go up. But at the end of the day, like, I just got to keep at it, because consistency has gotten me here. At the Texas Pro, they asked me, what did I change or what did I do differently this? I'm like, I can't even lie to you and make something up right now. Like, I don't do anything different. What I've done since I was in 10th grade has been no different than what I do now. Like, I eat at the same time, I train at the same time, I do the same exercises, same rep scheme, so to say. Like, things change, but I don't change. And that's what's gotten me this far, is not changing who I am or what I do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Keep the main thing. That's bodybuilding 101. I mean, a lot of people just get bored, or they see a squirrel run by, so they go that way, and it's like, man.
Well, another thing too, because you mentioned the listeners, that are going to be watching this, what's going on in this day and age is there's so many voices and they don't know who to listen to, right? That's the problem. Is you just got to do something, and it's a science project, and you're not going to know till you find out. If you're constantly, well, this person said this, and when I first got into the game, if I had a coach giving me a diet, the last thing you do is you ask another coach, what do you think about my diet? You don't that's your business. Like, that's sacred. Like, your diet, your supplement protocol, your cardio, that's sacred. And I don't let people know about that, because, for one, I pay my coach for that. So you're not going to get free business. And for two, that's between me and my coach. Like, so I stick to what my coach tells me to do. And then again, training wise, I know what I got to do, because I've been experimenting for 10 years. So I just don't let outside interferences come into play, because, again, that's where blazing my own trail has come in. I didn't go the Michaela Aycock route or the Dana Lynn Bailey route. And here's something crazy with Dana Lynn Bailey. I have a t-shirt company called No Dry Spots, and in 2021, Rob and Dana dropped 1,000 t-shirts of No Dry Spots, and they didn't even know that I own that brand. So they had to go on their page and make a post saying that basically, we can't do the No Dry Spots, but you know what that showed me? Great minds think alike. Dana Lynn Bailey and Rob Bailey literally had the same idea that I created in 2018. No Dry Spots, because it makes sense. It's easy, it sells. But again, that just goes to show, like, great minds think alike. And me and Dana, we was cool. Rob, me and him, cool. Like, and when I met her at the Olympia, like, we laughed about it. So, I just blaze my own trail. I don't do what other people do. For one, I'm a trendsetter. I back in my skateboarding days, that was on our skateboarding grip tape, trendsetter, because we don't want to do what everyone else is doing. I try to.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I just try to, like, again, like, if everybody's rocking a backpack at the gym, I'm getting a duffel bag, that type of thing. Like, I just don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
I was going to say, like, I feel like I feel like trendsetter is the term used, but a trendsetter they just blaze their own trail. They're not really worried about making the shit cool. It's just like when it catches on, it's gonna catch on, and then I'm the trendsetter. But like I'm not out here trying to be a trendsetter, if that makes sense. That's how
Exactly.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do what makes Turner feel he's doing right, and what in his heart he knows he's doing this for the right reason. And then when people catch on, like, okay, we can market that shit, because that's what a that's what a smart business person does. That's what a dumb bodybuilder would never do. That a smart business person is going to market that, but a trendsetter is just going to go with what their heart feels right. And I think that, like, when you do things like that, you can't lose. I think that from time to time, you know, some may flop or some may not hit it as big as others. But like for instance, your next big thing may not be no dry spots, but you keep swinging for the fucking fence, and one will go over the ball. That's the way I like to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. Yep.
Well, I'm not gonna try to keep you any longer. It's my birthday. We're gonna go out to dinner, so I need to go get a shower. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you wearing that shirt, and I appreciate you coming on here. And we want
Absolutely,
to
man.
Olympia.
Thank you guys for having me, and I appreciate your time and the conversation for sure.
For
Good
Alyssa
deal.
Kiessling, Turner Riddle, I'm Tommy Stiles. This has been another episode of For the Love of the Game. We're out of here.